Jamie Andreas from GuitarPrinciples.com here, and let's take a look at the best way to do these chords for Every Breath You Take. Now, normally when doing a G chord, I don't use the first finger on that note there on the 5th string because it doesn't really add anything musically valuable to the chord. In this case, it's actually a good idea, especially if you're a beginner, because we'll use that finger to go to the next chord. So we'll put that down for the G. So here's our 3-finger G chord. Now what you want to do is make sure you relax the shoulder so that the weight of the arm is added to the finger pressure coming through on the neck, what we call the heavy arm in the principles. And you're going to hold the 1 down, make 2 and 3 light so they come off. Now make sure they are loose and light, and then you bring the elbow out a tiny bit and you squeeze that 2nd finger right behind the fret. So the 1st finger does move back a little bit, and you try to squeeze them as close as you can, get what I call finger overlap. Don't have them side by side like that. Have them as overlapped as you can, and there's your E minor. Now you do that change over and over. You could strum all 6 strings. Another tip, don't strum, leave the pick down there, then change and then bring your hand up, okay? That's a common beginner mistake. You want to bring it up, make your change, because this way, when you're actually playing, it's going to work much better. So that's the G to the E minor. So let's look at the E minor to the C. Well, here we have a common finger. I'm going to leave the 2nd finger down. And my elbow position is actually pretty good for this chord change. Now I'm going to hold my 2, and I'm going to keep my, I'm going to start to lighten my 1. Let it come off like this. And now be very careful as you pull it back. What you have to do here, which is tricky, is the 2 fingers have to go in opposite directions. The 1 has to go back, and the 3 has to stay this way. Now your 3, especially if your fingers are undeveloped, it's going to want to do this. It's going to want to squeeze against the 2, so don't let that happen. So you will go very, very slowly. Keep the fingers as light as possible, the shoulder muscles as light as possible, or relaxed as possible. Bring the pick up. I would take 10-15 seconds, if this is new to you, to make that change. Very, very slowly like that. And there's your C chord. So E minor to C. And now C to D. Now C to D, we don't really have a common finger. Developed guitarists can pick up all their fingers and just throw them down in the new chord. But developing guitarists, not so much. So what you want to do here is leave the 3rd finger down. This is the way to practice it. Leave the 3rd finger down, release 1 and 2. Put 2 over there on the 3rd string, begin to get 3 over there on the 1st, and then bring your, 2 over there on the 1st, then bring your 3 over like that. Again, if your hand is undeveloped, then you'll probably get the squeeze. Of course, the solution to that is to do the foundation exercises in the principles. Then you will have a lot easier time just making that change, because the intrinsic muscles of the hand themselves will be developed. But that's a good way to start to get that chord change. Keep the fingers light. What I do is, you can think of it this way, you can even get that 1 down first, then bring the 2 and 3. You could try that too. Again, extremely slow practice on that. Once you have gotten some experience with doing them that way, then just your practice routine can just be this. This is the point you want to get to. Going back to the G now, when you need to go back to the G, I would hold the 1, reach out the 1 and 2, and then if you want to add that 1st finger, you could do the G that way. So now we'll do the first strum that you want to learn to do the song, which is a quarter note strum. just straight 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's always good to learn your song first that way. So you set the chord up, your singing note, which you want to sing along with it after you get the hang of it, is the note B. Every breath you take. Okay, so I'm going to count 4, then begin my strum. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now after you get comfortable doing it that way, you can try this more rhythmic strum where we're going to play the root of the chord, and on beats 2 and 4 we're going to do a strum. So that will sound like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now you want to know the roots of the chords, so the root of the G is the 6th string, the root of the E minor is also the 6th string, C chord is the 5th string, and just try to overlap your finger a little bit when you put that C down, or otherwise you can come over and block out the 6th string with your thumb. That way you don't have to worry about it, and you'll just get that root. I usually just kind of overlap this finger, put it over a little bit more so it's blocking that, and then I don't have to worry about it. Because when we're using these bass notes, we don't stop and pick the notes. We use the same motion of the arm that we strum with. We just kind of aim for the general direction of the bass note. Okay, so let's do it that way. And I will count off again. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, and 4, and... There you go. Have fun.